Good morning. My name is James Dube. I'm going to give a presentation on the digestive system and balanced nutrition. I'm making this presentation on the 29th of August, 2025. Uh, in dealing with this topic, I would want to start on my first slide by defining the meaning of the digestive system. I summarily describe it as a digestion of food into the absorbable nutrients. The process involves an alimentary canal, which is a tube-like passage from the mouth to the anus. My next slide will deal with the parts of the digestive system, from where the food starts when it gets into the body to the last place where it's excreted out of the body. The entry point part is the mouth, which initiates the digestive process through the chewing of food and combines with saliva. This is where this mechanical process happens. And after the chewing and the swallowing, then it gets into the esophagus, which is the second digestive part system, which is described as the tube that carries food from the mouth all the way to the stomach, which is our third part. The stomach, its main role is to store the food, is to combine the food with the enzymes and acids. That's where all these things meet up, and there's the actually the chemical breakdown of this food from the enzymes and the acids, yes, into the body stream. Our next slide is I'm going to talk about the parts of the digestive system, which are three parts, the main three parts, namely the small intestines, large intestines, and the rectum. Describing the small intestines, it looks at the is the one which actually digests the food and absorbs the nutrients. All that happens in the small intestines. And the large intestines, it takes in water, electrolytes, and forms waste for removal. And after that, then it goes through the excretion process that is done through the rectum or the anus, which actually stores and removes food from the body after everything has been done. My next slide is going to talk the how this digestion works. We have actually the first process which I actually mentions, which happens in the mouth, the mechanical digestion. This is actually the physical breakdown of the food into smaller bites which one can swallow. Then the chemical digestion is the one which is done in the stomach, where there is a breakdown of complex food molecules into simple nutrients uh, with the help of enzymes, because the body needs these nutrients for it to be balanced, for it to function so well. And it's only after they've been broken down and absorbed into small absorbable molecules that the body can benefit from these nutrients. The third part of the digestion system involves the absorption of the nutrients after the the nutrient the food stuff has been broken down into smaller particles. Then they are absorbed into digestive tract into the bloodstream. Then when they are absorbed, that's when we start to benefit. That's when we start to benefit from the food which we'll have ingested. My next slide is going to talk about the histology of tissues. What do we mean when we talk of histology? Histology is actually a study, a microscopic study of tissues. And there are four primary types of tissues which are more important in the digestive system, namely the epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous tissue. These are the four major tissues involved in histology in the digestive system, important for the body system to work. Yeah, let's start by going to the next slide. Let's start by describing the epithelial tissue, what it involves. Its functions actually is the protection, secretion, and absorption. Examples of the epithelial tissue, we are talking of the stomach, our intestines, and the skin, and a damage or any effect on the epithelial issue, it can lead to conditions like ulcers, cancers, and all those carcinomas and all that. They can result from the damage of the epithelial tissue. Our next tissue, we're talking the connective tissue. The connective tissue's function is actually to support binding and transportation of the substances, of the food substances. Examples of the connective tissue are talking blood, fat, and bone. And the effect on the connective tissue can lead to conditions such as scurvy, osteoporosis, and various connective tissue diseases like Marfan syndrome. So we see how important it is to ensure that the connective tissues are protected so that a body can stay healthy. Another type of tissue is the muscle tissue, which is my next slide now. This involves the cardiac and skeletal and smooth muscle. Its functions are movement and circulation of digestive system. You need a muscle to move the nutrients through the body system. And the clinical relevance of the muscle tissue, if they are affected or something is not functioning well, we get disorders like cramps. We always see people complaining of stomach cramps, muscle dystrophy, cardiac conditions. This all happens when the tissue muscles are not functioning well. The next tissue type, which I have on the next slide, is the nervous tissue, which functions by communication and the coordination via electrical impulses of all these mechanisms, which will be happening from the time the food is ingested until the excretion and until it's absorbed. Examples of this, we're talking of the brain, the spinal nerves, the spinal cord, and the nerves. And any disorder which can happen if these tissues are not taken off. That's when we see people have condition like strokes, neuropathy. We talk of the common one, peripheral neuropathy, then multiple sclerosis. They all happen when this part is not addressed well. My next slide is going to give us a graphic. It's giving us a graphic picture, microscopic picture of the tissues I've just described above. It's actually a realistic histological example of the epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous tissues. We see how they present differently when you look at them at the microscope, which is important actually for the medical personnel. We're talking of the lab guys, the doctors, for them to define what is happening with the body. Each tissue has its unique structure visible on the microscope, which is actually helping us, those who are working in the health system, to know which tissue is affected, which is this tissue we are talking about. The next slide is very important for me because it's talking of the 7 essential of health diet, the essential nutrients which the body needs, and in moderate quantities all the time for it to function and for it to be healthy. One of the essential nutrients, we're talking of the carbohydrates. This is the primary source of energy. You need carbohydrates for the body to function, for energy of the body. And the next one, which is also equally important, is the proteins. The proteins are so important to the body, as they are the ones which are involved in the repairing of growth and worn out tissue. And also fats. I know we look at fats sometimes, we might think, no, they are not good for the body, but the body also needs the fats. It's important to note they are the major source of energy, and it helps cells to function. Another integral part of the body nutrients, which is important, is the vitamins. We're talking of our vegetables, we're talking of our fruits, we get a lot of vitamin. We're talking of the sun, we also get a lot of vitamin. These ones, they keep your body healthy and working properly. And we also need some minerals. We're talking of for strong bones, muscles, and teeth strength. These are our ions. We need them also in moderation, as well as fibers.